We are live, brother.
Folks, what is up? And welcome back to the Vol Talk podcast. You are here with myself, Blake. You are here with my brother, Austin. And Austin, man, let me tell you something. Our granny, God rest her soul, she used to say that life is too short not to eat dessert first. And brother, I think we are eating some just desserts first and foremost, baby, because we're looking at a fantastic weekend of football. Not only did our Vols smack down Syracuse, but we're taking those early victory laps, baby. Nico, absolutely awful, brother. And Alabama goes down to Florida State, Austin. It was a fantastic opening weekend of Tennessee football.
It literally couldn't have been better. It genuinely could not have been any better, Blake. It was one of the best football watching weekends of my entire lifetime. All day was pure bliss. Okay, we didn't even have to sweat the Syracuse game. It was pretty much in hand from start to finish. And then 3:30 rolled around. They kicked us off ABC to watch Alabama, by the way. They kicked us off ABC so Bama could get their teeth kicked in Tallahassee, by the way, Blake. And then I stayed up, brother, for the people to give you the Nico analysis in UCLA. And Blake, it did not go well. It did not go well, brother. UCLA got absolutely destroyed. They considered calling the game off in the fourth quarter, Blake. That's how bad it was, okay? It was an absolute beatdown. So, yeah, I mean, I am absolutely fired up today, man. Joey Aguilar balled out game one. I can't wait to get into it, man.
Dude, it's gonna be a fun episode of All Talk. Let me tell you that. It is possibly gonna be an all-time episode, brother, because
That's what
we
the people are saying
get
on
our
the streets, by the way. That's what the people are saying, Blake.
that's what they're saying. We're gonna get some comeuppance with again, it's early, but again, we're taking that dessert first, baby. Okay.
We are.
Forget dinner, forget the meal. We are taking our just desserts first. We are taking our victory laps on Joey versus Nico.
Yes.
We are early celebrating Bama going down. But brother, most importantly, man, our Vols are 1-0.
Yes.
Win
1-0.
big against
The
Syracuse.
offense looked absolutely electric, dude. But dude, I feel like, and we're gonna get into all this, Blake. But is the Bama dessert? Or I feel like we're having seconds on the Bama thing, man. This goes back to last
Maybe.
year, Blake.
Yeah.
And I will get into it later. But folks, I'm going to bring some stuff to you later on. And I've been pounding the drum on this Kalen DeBoer stuff ever since it happened, like ever since he was hired. And I cannot wait to get into that later.
It's going to be fun stuff. I'm still trying to kind of pull up all of our streams here, make sure I can keep up with the chat because Austin chat is off to the races already.
It is. Thank you all for chatting with us today.
Yes. So that brings us to, as always, first and foremost, folks, please, if you haven't already, hit the like button on the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you are a new listener to the Vol Talk podcast. And most importantly, right now, this is the live show. So go ahead and hop in the chat. And if you are watching after the fact, then please leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about the Vols' big win against Syracuse this past weekend. What you think about everything else that we're going to be talking about today. It's going to be fun stuff. So awesome. I can't wait. Before we jump into the first topic, Austin, I'm gonna, if you want to leave us here on this part, I'm gonna catch up with the chat because, like I said, we're off to the races immediately. So thank you all so much. We got Sam in the chat here. First one in the chat, right out of the chute. Sam says Tennessee is the most underrated team in the country. Other than that, I have no opinion. Hey, look, Austin, I'm not gonna lie. I said people
They're
are
starting
sleeping
to
on us.
doubt us. They're starting to doubt us, Blake, and that's where we want to be, brother.
That's where we love to be. Shout out to my wife who is getting out of church and jumping right into the chat. Rachel, thank you. She says, "Go Big Orange." Love you, and I miss you. Rick says, "Nico did us a big favor." Rick, it's looking like you might have, my friend. It's looking like you might have.
A huge favor. What a blessing in disguise. And it really wasn't a disguise to us, Blake. We saw this coming, dude. We saw this coming. We've been
Yeah.
talking about this for 2 months leading into this, man. What did we say in the preview show? It feels like we upgraded at quarterback. So why did our win total go down? Why did it go? It went in the wrong direction, Blake. It should have went up.
Right, exactly. And I think people are going to start to learn that over the course of the next few weeks. We shall see. Friend of the program, Dakota, in the chat, start to finish, one of the best Saturdays ever. Absolutely agree. Love to see it. Ryan says Bama equals fraud. We are going to get into that, my friend, for
Yes.
sure. Rick says he stayed up too to watch Nico. His analysis: Nico sucks. You may or may not have stolen our headline for that segment, Rick. You're beating us to the punch. Ryan says Joey football, baby. And
Yes.
he says roll tears roll. Lynn, friend of the program, says how come the tie didn't roll? I love it, Lynn. Vols all day says Nico 130 yards for 1 TD. Nico, who bring on Joey. Yeah, absolutely. Nico, who bring on Joey is what Vols all day says. He also threw an interception, Vols all day, and he also was overthrowing receivers left and right. We're gonna get into it.
Oh,
Friend of the program, Daniel Hightower says, "How far does Bama
dude.
drop? Maybe to 10."
Yeah, that's
they'll
probably
probably
where they'll
drop like a
go,
couple
Daniel.
spots.
You know they're going to keep them in the top 10. I told Dakota yesterday after the game they should drop out of the rankings, dude. When you look that embarrassing week 1, you are no longer eligible to be ranked if we're doing this on legitimate criteria, but we're not. They'll probably be at about 10 or 11.
Yeah, exactly. And then of course FSU is going to shoot, straight into the top 25. Oh, this must be one of the best teams in the country. They beat Bama. So we'll see. We'll see. But at the end of the day, I care about our Vols, and we're 1-0, baby. And Austin, you know me, brother. You know me. I like to come up with conspiracy theories related to the year 1998. And my friend, we in 1998 were going from a certain quarterback to a brand new quarterback, and we started the year by beating Syracuse in 1998. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying. All right, folks, we are going to jump into this game review. Okay, so the Vols beat Syracuse, Austin, 45-26.
Yep.
And let's go ahead and start with just kind of walk us through how the game went. What are your game notes looking like, and what were the big headlines coming out of the game?
So please, folks, don't go and watch the preview because me and Dakota got it completely wrong. Okay, we did. We said we thought the defense was going to play shutdown defense and the offense was going to take a while to get going. Blake, immediately it seemed like this offense was clicking. Pass game, run game, it seemed like it was clicking right off the jump. All day long, I was impressed with Aguilar's pocket. The pocket looked really good, and I'll get into some specifics on that later. Okay, if I can talk, I'm just so fired up today.
He's so fired up, folks. He's
And
just
dude,
ready.
and listen, Aguilar wasn't perfect. Okay, he wasn't perfect, but I will say he started a little slow, missing a couple things high. But Blake, once he settled in, he was damn near perfect. Okay, towards the end of the game, he was phenomenal. And again, I'll get into more specifics on that as well. But dude, overall, man, it was obvious right off the bat we were the better team, and we held the lead the whole time. I listen, not to be a downer, I'm slightly concerned about the defense. Okay, they weren't again dealing with a lot of injuries though. We had a couple guys banged up on the defensive line, a couple secondary guys. Honestly, guys in the secondary stepped up. But dude, I think I think we have to get into the Aguilar performance. Okay, I think that's what people want to hear about. All right, how did Joey Aguilar look and play? Again, didn't start off the best, but finished the game with an 87.2 passing grade, okay, from PFF. That's really good, by the way. Really good. We'll get into Nico later. That would have ranked as Nico's third best performance last year from a PFF passing grade perspective, Blake, and that was in Joey Aguilar's first performance. It was really good overall. Best play of the game, the throw to Braylon Staley, dude. Absolute, yes. Dude, that would have been, Blake, agree or disagree, would have been Nico's hands down best throw of the year last year. Hands down. I wouldn't even been close, yes. Dude. That would have been his number one throw last year. And that was Joey Aguilar. Okay, and another thing, I'm so fired up right now, dude. Okay, Two deep passing attempts on the game, and I gotta give me and Dakota may have got the preview wrong, but I gotta give us credit on the season because what did I say going into the season about Joey's deep balls? Okay, one, he's going to give his guys a chance. Two, the ones that are underthrown are going to be defensive pass interference. Blake, his very
Yep,
first deep pass
I
attempt
saw
of
that.
the game was a defensive pass interference call. Very first one. I immediately took victory laps on that, dude. I'm like, listen, I'm telling people it's one of the most OP plays in football. Second deep pass attempt was that one to Braylon Staley, which, by the way, he didn't even have to break stride for, Blake. There was literally no breaking stride
Yep.
whatsoever. Joey saw the pressure coming, made the throw, stepped into it, and it was an absolute beauty, man. And when I saw that, I'm like, dude, we were right. We were right. The ceiling of this offense has been raised with Joey Aguilar under center, man. It just has. Heupel does such a beautiful job of scheming guys open, and Aguilar is already taking advantage of this, dude. Already, immediately taking advantage. He was so good, man. Another thing, okay, I have to talk about the second, I believe it was his second touchdown throw to Star Thomas. This is one thing that stood out all game, Blake. Because again, going back to our season preview, what were we talking about? Aguilar's going to get to his second reads, unlike Nico did last year. He's going to get to his second reads.
Yep.
He's not going to bail on clean pockets. This touchdown pass to Star Thomas, which I believe was the second best play of the game. He has a clean pocket, waits, doesn't see anything, and it's the red zone, man. It's a tight red zone play, so it's going to be hard to find someone open. Right when it breaks down, he immediately feels it. He immediately feels the pocket starting to collapse because, I mean, he's already been looking for 2 or 3 seconds. So then he maneuvers the pocket, steps up in the pocket, continues to look downfield, which is something Nico literally never did last year, dude. It was always, we're bailing on this pocket to go run. Aguilar continues to look downfield, Blake. And then what I love the most, okay, he throws it to Star Thomas, who, by the way, had a defender on him, but he gave his guy an opportunity to go make a play, and Star Thomas made an absolutely beautiful contested catch, dude. It was such a fantastic play, and it was literally the complete opposite of what we saw from our quarterback a year ago. The complete opposite. He stayed in the clean pocket until it broke down. He didn't bail on the pocket to run. He bailed on the pocket to look for a throw downfield. And number 3, he gave his receiver a chance to make a play on the ball, Blake. It was so nice to see, man. Because especially game 1, Blake. And we have a buddy that we're watching a game with that made this point a lot, which is a great point. Aguilar's on a lot of pressure, man. He's under a lot of pressure,
Yep.
right? He came in. He had basically a month and a half to learn an offense. It's his first SEC start at Tennessee, his first Power 4 start in college football. And for him to make plays like this already with an offense that has never played together, right? Basically, none of these guys have played together in an actual setting. For him to run the offense like this, man, I was so incredibly impressed by Aguilar in this first game, man.
And look, folks, we know that it's the first game. We get it. It's early. However, it immediately felt like 2022 Hendon Hooker all over again, to where this is what Heupel's offense should feel like, right? It should have the run game open. It should have the pass game open, right? We shouldn't be a run first offense. It should be that balanced offense that you talked about in the season preview. And it immediately felt like that because we had a quarterback who was decisive, who was going through his progressions, who was actually taking shots and allowing his receivers to make plays, like you said. So, folks, it's truly a blessing, right, to have a quarterback once again who is actually making those kind of plays.
And Blake, I gotta shout out the sneaky athleticism. We'll say it's sneaky athleticism, Blake, because he had a couple runs in there that I was like, dang, we didn't see this at App State. And I'll go back to, Blake, just because we didn't see him do it before doesn't mean he can't do it. That's one thing that fans make the mistake of all the time, or people in life in general. Just because you haven't seen someone do something doesn't mean they can't do it. And Aguilar showed that in this game, dude, on the read option, immediately trusting Aguilar to keep the ball. He had one 25-yard scamper in there, dude. I was really impressed with the athleticism, dude, because I don't think it's as athletic as Nico, But dude, he makes up for it in so many other areas. That's like, okay, I'll take a slight downgrade in athleticism for, someone who can actually hit receivers in stride.
And part of that those QB scrambles is the decisiveness as well, right? Because yeah, Nico had the athleticism, but he was so indecisive that
Yes.
oftentimes we were like, "Man, take off and run," and he wouldn't do it, right? And so even though Joey might not be as quite as athletic, he had those scampers like you were talking about, like that 25-yarder, that because he's able to kind of read the field and make those decisive plays. So huge stuff, folks. I love seeing this chat. I'm falling behind on the chat already. So Austin, let me briefly take a minute to catch up on the chat here because folks are talking about all of this good stuff, and they're making some great points. So Vols all day. Hey, Vols all day is pointing out one of my favorite parts of the game.
Yes.
Now, folks, unfortunately, wasn't able to watch the entire game because of my situation. However, I was able to watch, all of the kind of the big plays and keep up with those highlights. And Vols all day pointed out my favorite highlight of the day. He's talking about how about Peyton Lewis running through that linebacker for a TD. Ryan says that linebacker had no chance.
Yes.
That was awesome, Austin. That Peyton Lewis touchdown. He just playing physical football, dude. You said that was the play that really hyped you up,
It was.
during the game. So that was huge. Ryan says it was nice watching the Vols have an offense with a pulse. Absolutely. Nice having a QB who goes through his progressions and make a positive game when a play breaks down. Again, huge, right, Austin? And Dakota talking about the receiver, specifically Staley, saying my Staley breakout prediction off to a solid start.
Very solid
Absolutely,
start.
Dakota. You definitely nailed that one. And then go Vols deep. I think this is the first time I've seen you in the chat. Go Vols deep. Welcome. Love the name. He says, Joey can appreciate that big orange wall he was in front of, or that was in front of him after what he had at App State. Austin, do you want to? We'll catch up on the rest of the chat here in a second, but do you want to talk real quick about the offensive line and how they played? Because you
Yeah,
gave a shout out to a certain someone on the offensive line before we started the show.
I did. Lance Hurd played better, man. He did. He played better. So yeah, in general, that was a great chat because in general, I felt like the pass blocking in particular was a whole lot better. And Blake, you may have missed this because the time zone you're on before the game, but Sanders was a
Was
game
out.
time decision and missed the game. So they had to completely shift the offensive line to what we thought it would have been. So what they did was, and I got to shout out Rick in the chat because he's been shouting this guy out all off season and he broke out yesterday. Jesse Perry. So they moved Jesse Perry out to tackle. Okay. They played Sham at guard and then they played Pendleton at center. And I think Pendleton's going to be the center going forward. But I think the plan was to play Jesse Perry at guard, Blake, and obviously have David Sanders at tackle. First of all, shout out to Jesse Perry. That's the first guy I got to start with, Blake, because the versatility, right? He's planning on playing guard. Like this David Sanders thing, it wasn't like a lingering thing through camp. Like this was like game time decision this week. It was thus decided David Sanders wasn't going to play. And the fact that Jesse Perry had to move out to tackle and played really, really well, by the way. Okay. He was our number one graded via PFF pass blocking offensive lineman. Jesse Perry, 78.6 pass blocking grade. And really everyone outside of Sham, I will say, had a good pass blocking grade in this game. Sham unfortunately gave up 3 pressures in the interior, so he didn't have his absolute best game. But I think he's going to be the odd man out. Like I think once David Sanders is healthy, they're going to obviously put him at tackle, move Jesse Perry back into guard. So, this offensive line, dude, immediate. And Dakota and I talked about part of the question marks going into the game and really the season was the lack of continuity on the offensive line. That's one big part
Right.
of offensive line play, Blake, is continuity. Okay. But they immediately meshed, man. You really
Yeah.
didn't notice that they didn't have never played together. You really didn't. The communication was there. It was an overall really good performance. It wasn't perfect, and I understand if people were like skeptical and saying, "Okay, this was Syracuse. What happens when we play Georgia?"
Right.
That's fair. That's a fair question. I have the same question, but I'm at least happy, Blake, that they came in and played well week 1 when I could have easily seen this go poorly, especially when you have the mix up right before the game that completely shifted the line around. So overall, dude, I thought it was a really good performance, especially pass blocking, which we always kind of expected this to be a better pass blocking O line. Um, Another guy to shout out, Wendell Moe, dude. He was moving guys. He was absolutely moving guys. He looked really, really good. He also just looks the part. Like when I'm watching the offensive line, he just looks like he's going to be a player in the league one day. And then our guy, Blake, our guy that we've talked about a lot last year, Lance Hurd. Listen, he didn't play well last year, and that's an understatement. I'm being nice because we're turning a new leaf. Blake, today or yesterday, he played pretty good. He played pretty good. At times, he seemed like he was still out of shape, which was a little concerning. But overall, he played pretty well, especially from a pass blocking perspective. Actually, I believe his run blocking grade actually ended up being better than his pass blocking grade, which honestly, that is good. Honestly, a good thing to me, Blake, because remember, his run blocking was the problem last year. His run blocking was terrible last year. And I thought the line, even run blocking, was really good yesterday. Open up holes for our great running backs, which is something else we got to get into, Blake. This stable of running backs, which I think will be your favorite part of this football team.
Oh yeah,
It was phenomenal, dude. It was absolutely phenomenal.
incredible stuff for sure. And the O line played well. That which is what you want to see in Austin. We talked about this going into the season. We talked about this honestly at the end of last season, that Syracuse was no slouch of a team. And so yes,
No,
we understand that, it's game one, it's Syracuse. They're not Georgia by any stretch of imagination, but their QB Angeli and their team in general, they returned a lot of starters. They're a solid team, and the AP ranked us 24, Austin, right? So everyone was sleeping on us, and a lot of people were calling for the upset in this game, even though it was a 14-point spread, right? So the point is we came in and we did what we wanted to do, which was have the offense roll. Again, like you said, the defense possibly a little worrying. Although, we opened up a big lead very quickly.
yes, we did.
So that might have had an effect. But we are going to get into, folks, the running backs. We're going to get into the defense a little bit more. We've got several things to talk about for this game. We are also going to get into the Alabama hate session and the Nico still sucks update
Cannot
later
wait.
on. So stick around for that. Let me catch up on the chat again, Austin. We are rolling in the chat. Really appreciate everyone. Ryan says that Joey played like a mature QB should. Good football IQ. You love to see that, Austin. Go Vols Deep said, also just want to toss out, there were out there last team we beat Q's in our season opener. We went 13-0. Anyone want to run 98 back? And Vols all day and Go Vols Deep both saying that they're feeling like 98, baby. And I'm all aboard that train. Again, game one, but hey, it's a good way to start, Austin. It's a
It
good way to
is.
start.
You want to start 1-0, baby?
You want to start 1-0. Let's see here. Go Vols Deep says one of the announcer even said something about one of our receivers looking like Peerless Price. Hey, love that comparison. And then Vols All Day says you realize we play Mississippi State and Razorbacks this year just like 98. Only team we don't play is Auburn from 98. Again, love the comparison, folks. Let's keep it rolling. Go Vol. I'm going to jump down here a little bit. Let's see here. Yes, so Go Vols Deep's talking about FSU handling Alabama. We are going to get to that. Go Vols Deep. Trust me.
We're going to be talking about
Trust me.
that.
We are going to be talking
We're
about
bringing
that.
up receipts too, Blake. Like actual receipts.
Oh.
We're bringing it up.
We're bringing it up for sure. And Vols All Day says Nico 0-2. Hey, look, when it comes to Alabama, it is guaranteed that we're going to be getting paid. Okay, that's just a guarantee of this podcast. And then Vols All Day says Nico 0-2 in his last two games. Again, something we are also going to get into here in a few minutes on the show, folks. So buckle in. We got a lot on Vol talk for you. But Austin, what do you want to talk about next with the game review?
Let's go back.
Talk about the running backs real quick.
Let's go backs,
yeah,
man.
let's talk about
Because
the backs.
again, this is something else that we kind of hit the nail on the head with the season preview, Blake. We knew it was going to be a stable of these three guys, right? Deshaun Bishop, Star Thomas, and Peyton Lewis. That was the stable. And man, I could not have been more impressed with all three of these guys. Got to start with the starter who came out with the team in the first drive, Deshaun Bishop. Again, love this guy's story. He was awesome in this game, dude. Absolutely awesome. He broke the biggest run of the game, 47-yarder. He's not super shifty. Deshaun Bishop is not super shifty, but he is extremely hard to tackle. And it's weird, man. It's like Dakota likes to shout out with D Samp and Kamara. It's the low center of gravity that really helps the Sean Bishop
Yep.
avoid getting tackled. And then he was also threatened the pass game as well. I was extremely impressed with him. He actually had our highest grade from PFF, 90.4 offensive grade for Deshaun Bishop. Just really good
Wow.
overall. And then dude, Star Thomas, man, I can't say enough good things about Star Thomas. I actually may have been more impressed with Star Thomas just because absolutely love how decisive he was in the run game, dude. When he saw the hole, he hit it, man. He hit it, and he was making guys miss all day. And then I told you the contested catch in the end zone, man. That was a phenomenal play that Star made.
Right.
Again, I mean, he's gonna be a huge factor, man. You got to get all three of these guys the ball, and then Peyton Lewis. We were talking about it in the chat. Dude, that play where listen, Blake, that play on the goal line. That's classic Oklahoma drill, man. You've been doing that since Pop Warner.
Yep.
1-on-1, who's gonna win the rep, man? 1-on-1, who's gonna win the rep? And dude, Peyton Lewis absolutely dominated the rep, ran through that linebacker's face. What a play by Peyton Lewis on that. And Peyton Lewis, I mean, dude, it was pretty much completely split, right? 24 snaps for Deshaun Bishop, 24 snaps for Star Thomas, and 20 snaps for Peyton Lewis. I want to see that all season long, man. All three of these guys need the ball in their hands.
Yeah, you absolutely want to continue to split that work among that stable of running backs because, as you're pointing out, man, they all played fantastic. You absolutely are hitting the nail on the head with that, and you love to see it. You know, this running back stable just not missing a beat. Yes, it sucks. We got to replace the production of Dylan Sampson, but it's off to a good start, brother. It's
Very
off to a
good
good
start.
start with these three backs. So, catching up on the chat here, Go Vols Deep says the thing these backs have going for them is a never quit mentality. When you're in a gunfight, the winner will always be the one who never stops fighting. Yeah, I mean, you saw that from Peyton Lewis when he ran over that linebacker, right? I mean, he just has that physical mentality, and you absolutely want that in your running backs. To me, Austin, it's funny that play ended up being running back versus linebacker because we've talked about linebacker being that kind of dog position where you want that just killer mentality and it's a physical position linebacker. To me, running back is obviously the equivalent on offense, right? You want a
Yes.
killer mentality. You want that toughness. Jamal Lewis, Peyton Lewis, it says Vols all day. So draw the comparison to Jamal Lewis. Austin, you know, we may not be running back but we have a really storied history of running backs at this university. So would love to see these guys continue that strain of running backs. Yeah, Vols all day saying that they're twins, Jamal Lewis and Peyton Lewis. So Austin, great play from the running backs. The offense, again, all around. I mean, we score 45 points. Look, my concerns were Joey did miss a few throws, right? Now, as you mentioned, that underthrown deep ball, you're giving your receiver a chance to make a play, but then you're also drawing the defensive PI. And so that was massive. And we did put the ball on the ground once, I believe.
Yes.
Can't recall
That
if there's any other turnovers. And then,
so
I mean, and then there were a couple of receiver drops. So
yeah.
what were your concerns from the offense?
So yeah, the fumble was rough. Now we ended up responding to that fumble by getting a strip sack, and Colton Hood picked that up. I got a lot to say about that guy later. But the fumble I think was on the running back, and I actually can't remember who the running back in at the time was. I think it was Star Thomas. So what it was is I believe it was an RPO. I believe it was an RPO where you can either hand it off to the back or pull it and throw it. And I think Joey was trying to hand it off to the back. The back thought it was play action, and it was a fumble. PFF has turnover worthy plays. Blake basically just gives quarterbacks, it knocks them for potentially intercepted passes or fumbles that are on them. And they did not credit him with that fumble. So I think they agree with me on that, hey, this one wasn't on Aguilar, which it's in the box score. You see it's a fumble for Aguilar, but I don't think it actually was his fault. And then, yeah, the drops were rough. I think Brazel had a pretty key drop on a potential first down that wasn't the best. And listen, it wasn't a perfect performance, but I think overall we're extremely happy with the offensive performance, considering the fact that this is really such a new group, man. And
Yep.
this is not like this is not a cupcake opponent. It's not like we're opening with Chattanooga, man.
Correct.
We opened with Syracuse. I mean, they won 10 games last year, and we thought we would win the game, but it's still, I mean, this is a Power 4 ACC opponent. So it's really overall extremely encouraged with how the offense looks right off the gate. Mike Matthews, I touch on him just real quick. I still want to see more, but I do. First of all, he looked noticeably bigger. Like he's grown into his body, which is great to see. And I think he was getting open. I think him and Aguilar just need to get on the same page. And like I said, with Aguilar, I think him missing throws in the beginning of the game, which some of those are nerves, man, and like it's the in-game chemistry that they had to build up. I think once he got settled in the game, he started hitting some of that easy stuff that he was missing early on. So that's notable. And hey, listen, it's a one-game sample, right? I gotta say that. Even though we're gonna take some victory laps today, Blake, it's a one-game sample. But man, I could not have been happier with the offensive performance. However, the defense was, I will say, slightly disappointing in some areas, Blake. Slightly disappointing. Do you disagree? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Did we lose connection?
No. You just weren't talking.
Yeah, go for no. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the offense. I think to your point, about the them being new and them having to gel. Yeah, I do think that those are the things that are going to get better over the season, right? Because Joey is, and even Star Thomas, right? He's a transfer, so things like that fumble, I think, are going to be things that get cleaned up as the season progresses, right? And as these guys practice together. And so overall, absolutely, offense, it really truly gave me vibes of Hendon Hooker in the 2022 offense, actually being able to score at will. Seemingly for most of the game, it was like, hey, if we wanted to score, we were going to. So you love that. The defense has some good moments, but yes, the defense was absolutely kind of all of a sudden, again, going back to 2022, it's like, okay, is the defense the question mark yet again? So talk us through the defensive performance, Austin.
Yeah, they did some good things. They forced a couple turnovers, which you love to see. I think the secondary is fine. I actually was mostly disappointed in the edge rush. There wasn't a lot of pressure off the edge. Nobody really stepped up in that role. Joshua Josephs was phenomenal as always. He had a really good game, but outside of him, there wasn't much off the edge. I will say though, we have 5 sacks in the game, but Tim Banks did a really good job of simulating pressure, sending like really good blitzes and doing some great stunts that caused us to get a few sacks in there. But again, yeah, five sacks and 7 TFL, really good. But again, not a lot of that was from the edge, which was kind of disappointing to me because I wanted to see a guy like Jordan Ross step up and take over that role. But a couple breakout guys from defense. So Nathan Robinson, he was really good. 3-star sophomore, really good. He's actually an interior defensive lineman, Blake. He had a really good game. He actually had the strip sack that led to the Colton Hood scoop and score. That was really phenomenal. And a guy that wasn't on our radar, dude. We didn't even shout him out in the preview show, but he stepped up in a huge way and was playing really early too. So I was really impressed with him. but yeah, man, like you said, they were making some plays, and the second, I'll go back to the injuries too. I mean, we had multiple guys go down. Jackson Moy went down with an injury in the game. David Hobbs is out. Before the game, he's going to be out for a few weeks. And then Ricky Gibson went down early. He started the game, went down early. Arian Carter was dealing with injuries. It was just they were getting beat up early, which was unfortunate to see.
Yeah, for sure. We can't really afford any additional injuries on defense for sure. So hopefully everything goes smoothly and everyone can get to 100%, especially by week 3, Austin, because we got the big bad Bulldogs coming into Knoxville. Let me catch up on the chat here. Lynn says the UCLA fans hated us in the chat box last night watching Nico lose. Again, Lynn, we can't wait to get to that section on Nico and the game. Austin's got some. He stayed up, did the Lord's work, and watched the late West Coast game. So he's going to bring us some analysis on that. Go Vols Deep says, here's the thing with defense. It's possible that we were intentionally dialing it back. That way Georgia identifies false weaknesses that they think they can exploit. Yeah, maybe. I mean, a lot of people like to theorize on some of this. I'm like, at the end of the day, Austin, to me, if you can stop a team from scoring, you want to do it. Probably, but you never know. And it was the first game. And again, it harkens back to 2022 when we could score at will, and as long as the defense made stands at certain times, we won games comfortably, right? Ryan says, I hope we have at least one healthy defensive lineman for next week. I'm glad we are deep at that position. Vols all day, talking about those stats you were mentioning there. Austin, 5 sacks and 7 tackles for loss. And let me quickly shout out Austin. I did get a chance to listen to the clip of Mike Keith calling it was his first game.
It was great, man.
And it was fantastic, dude. And he called his first sack. That gave me goosebumps. It was good stuff. Hearing him call that first sack. And then and I apologize, folks. I'm a little under the weather, so my sinuses are a little messed up here. I'm gonna try to not sound too bad on the mic here. Vols all day says more sacks than any other game last year. Is that true, Austin? I didn't know that. 5 sacks more than any other game last year.
I would have to look into that. And yeah, like I said, I thought Tim Banks had a great game plan. Dialed up a lot of great blitzes that led to some sacks. Arian Carter got a sack off a stunt. I believe McMurray got a sack off a cornerback blitz. Boo Carter should have had a sack off a cornerback blitz, but he kind of got juked out of his shoes by Angeli. So yeah, I actually thought Tim Banks called a pretty good game overall. And yeah, the 5 sacks, I'm not sure if that was the most from last year. I mean, I tend to believe the guy in the chat. And we said going into the game, Dakota and I were talking about during the preview that, hey, dude, we could get like 7 sacks in this game looking at this offensive line. And I was pretty impressed with the interior guys. But again, I would love to see a guy like Jordan Ross step up. And he made a great play in the run game. I thought overall the run defense wasn't better, and I think mostly that was because our linebackers were getting pretty banged up. Arian Carter again was banged up throughout the game. T-Lander had that great pick. We got to shout out T-Lander for the pick. That was phenomenal. I'll catch up on the chat while I think Blake is figuring something out. I don't know what's going on over there, but
got a nosebleed here, folks.
Oh dear! Blake's got a nosebleed.
Oh no! Absolute emergency. I've been blowing my nose all day. Again, I'm very sick. And of course it happened. So yeah, so I'm gonna let you catch up on the chat here and not I think we're gonna get flagged on YouTube if I show blood or something. So.
Oh geez. Okay. So Vols all day is talking Colton Hood. Let's talk Colton Hood. Y'all want to talk about Colton Hood? He was amazing, man. He was amazing. How about this staff once again finding a transfer cornerback that's going to immediately make a impact? Colton Hood was phenomenal. So from PFF, he had an 83.2 coverage grade. That was the best on the team. But Colton Hood, it wasn't just the coverage to me. I mean, he was flying around. He was absolute flying around all game long, making plays in the run game. Of course, he had the scoop and score. And they put a lot of trust in him too, kind of put him out on an island at some points, and he was super physical. I thought all the corners were extremely physical in the game, which you absolutely love to see. Yeah, Hood was a baller, says Blake G. Fellers in the chat. I agree. Hood absolutely balled out. And he was getting a ton of camp hype, but camp hype doesn't always equal good play. In this case, Hood looks like he's going to be an absolute star. So appreciate Dion and Colorado for giving us a guy like Colton Hood. That was an absolutely great pickup. Yeah, the scoop and score as well. Yeah, from Vols all day. Yeah, the scoop and score was awesome. He did a great job on that play of keeping his momentum going while scooping it. A lot of guys don't have the ability to do that. They have to slow down to scoop it up and then go. Hood just went, man. He just went. He picked up that fumble and went. Um, yeah. So, and yeah, I mean, and continuing in the secondary, I think Blake's back here. Continuing the secondary, when Ricky Gibson went down, we played a true freshman in Ty Redmond, like a true freshman. Absolutely incredible performance from him. Because the secondary, it's really good, but it's banged up. I mean, we have Jermod McCoy hurt, Ricky Gibson got hurt, so Ty Redmond had to come in. I thought he played some great snaps on defense.
You love to see that, man. You love to see a freshman come in and play well. Now I'm sounding even worse here, folks. Absolute worst case scenario on the live show here. Very, very bad nosebleed. So I apologize. But hey, a huge shout out to Austin G. Fellers. Austin, he is a viewer from over on Spotify, and he says that his brother is also named Austin.
Yeah.
So
Pretty incredible.
What a coincidence.
Pretty incredible.
Pretty incredible.
Blake and Austin. Just a couple of Blake and Austins hanging out.
Austin, I'm also going to, I realize I sound terrible and this is going to completely throw off the show.
It's okay, dude.
So, what do you have any other thoughts on the defense and how the defense plays? Because I know we want to get to the Bama hate and
we do.
The Nico update.
We do. Yeah, so yeah, that was pretty much everyone. Vols all day talking about Jordan Ross. I thought Jordan Ross was really good in the run game, and you can see the athleticism. The athleticism is absolutely there. He was kind of looking lost on a couple plays. Not lost. He was trying to get guys lined up a couple times. It was a little bit weird. But I just want him to. I want him to break out as a pass rusher, man. We kind of need to replace James Pierce. Edge production from last year. So, and we have to keep him in this defense. I think you might be referring to Colton Hood. I totally agree. Colton Hood, can you all imagine when Jermod McCoy and Colton Hood come back and they're playing at the same time on this defense? Our secondary, that's one thing we kind of nail. Our secondary is going to be really, really good this year. They're going to be really, really good. And, kind of like I said, I think the defense performance definitely wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect, but it's going to be serviceable this year. And there's something to the fact that the offense is a whole lot better. And since the offense is a whole lot better, you're just going to get less rest on the defense, like because we're actually, we're scoring, we're putting up a lot of points. So, we're going to kind of put our defense in tougher situations this year. So they might give up a few more points here and there, but
yeah.
Balls all day shouting you out in the chat for playing through the nosebleed here, Blake.
Hey, dude. Hey, listen. So I played rugby in high school and a little bit in college. And I remember one of my first games, I got a nosebleed. And of course, if you're bleeding, you're supposed to go out of the game. Well, I just grabbed a big clod of dirt and grass and stuffed it up in the nose, and stopped the bleeding. So, hey, you got to play through the blood, baby.
Got to play through it, man.
Listen. The people need Vol talk, okay? Because it was an absolutely incredible weekend of volunteer football and hate watching as well. And so the people need Vol talk. The show must go on, Austin, despite literally I was bleeding pretty badly. But I think it's stopped. So I'm going to catch up on the chat again here as well. So Ryan saying you better have that Insta clock on standby. Blake gets a Purple Heart. Yeah, I don't know about that. But he says get well soon. Thank you. Is Hood in for McCoy? Blake asks Austin. So you talked about that. McCoy is of course injured right now. We're kind of hopeful that he'll be back for Georgia, right? But I'm with you, Austin. I'm excited to see this secondary when both McCoy and Hood are on the field because that's going to be massive.
Yeah, I think they'll play.
Talking about George Ross too.
Yeah. And yeah, I think once McCoy's back, they'll both be on the field together. So we kind of had to replace both the starters yesterday because Ricky Gibson went down in the game and then McCoy was hurt obviously before the game. But that just speaks to the depth of the secondary, man. I think the secondary is gonna be one of the best in the country this year.
Can't wait, man. I can't wait to see what they do the rest of the season because it's going to be fantastic. And again, we've got Georgia rolling into town in a couple weeks. So we're going to need big stuff from this secondary. Austin, I think without further ado, man, maybe we should move into rant territory, baby. I know you got some rants built up, brother, and
I
I'm ready
do.
for them.
I do.
So what are we going to talk about first? Are we going to talk about the Bama hate update?
Yeah, I think we will. But yeah, just to put a bow on it, we're 1-0, really happy about it. We'll find out what this team is in 2 weeks, Blake. We'll find out what this team's really
Yes.
about in 2 weeks. So stand by on that. However, we have some other teams around the country that we already have a good idea of what they are. Starting with Alabama. Alabama went down to Tallahassee yesterday, Blake, and got embarrassed 31-17. So, yeah, it was an absolute embarrassment. And I got a lot to say about it, Blake. I'm going to take some victory laps.
As you should, brother, because you've been talking about this since day one with
Yes.
Kalen DeBoer.
Yes, I have.
And let's not let this point slide, Austin. Florida State won how many games last year? 2. They won 2 games last year. Now, this is a premier program, right? And this is what should be a premier coach. So it was going to be highly unlikely that they came back and won only 2 games again this year, right? But they won 2 games last year, Austin. 2 games.
Correct.
And Alabama was being talked about by pundits, by these fools on television about how fantastic they were going to be. People picking them for early national champions, and all this, all this craziness. And then Kalen DeBozo and the Elephants go and lose to Florida State. And brother, again, you've been calling this from day one.
Yeah, I mean, and I have, and some of it was off camera, some of it's on camera, and we'll just kind of get into it. We have a lot of new listeners, so I'm going to get into some older talking points that you've heard, Blake. Some of our newer listeners may not have heard. Overall, with the FSU game yesterday, of course, I was watching the game, I was tuning in, and I'm not going to deny it, Blake. I was hate watching. I was really excited. Every time Florida State made a great play, I was really happy. I mean, that's just how this works when I'm watching Alabama play someone. I'm really happy when the other team does well. Let me just say with this Alabama team, Blake, it could not have looked any more different than any Nick Saban team I have ever seen, okay? They got completely dominated in the trenches in the second half and completely undisciplined. Absolutely completely undisciplined. It was the complete opposite of any Nick Saban team I've ever watched play. And Blake, do you want to know why? Nick Saban's not there anymore. And a lot of people seem to have not realized there's a reason they won 6 national. Like, there's a reason they were good for 20 years, right? And it's not because the A on their chest. It's because the coach. That's what people didn't realize. And Blake, I've got an article pulled up here. Okay, I've got an article because I had a buddy yesterday. I talked about this article. Blake, you've heard me talk about this article. I had a buddy yesterday question me. He was like, "Is that real? Did ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, really rank Kalen DeBoer as the number 2 head coach going in to 2024? Was that real, Austin, or did you just make that up?" I've got the article right here, Blake, and I'm going to show our listeners if I can make this work. So here's the article, okay? It's Blake. It's blocking me in Blake's face. Here we go. 2024. Kirby Smart won. By the way, Blake, he's won 2 national championships. Kalen DeBoer at number 2, okay? Dabo Sweeney, 3 national championships. He's nowhere to be found. Or 2 national championships. My apologies. He was number 2 heading in to his first season as the Alabama head coach, okay? And Blake, right when I see that, right? Immediately my mind goes to the fact that it's like, this has to be the most disingenuous ranking of all time, right? It's the most disingenuous ranking of all time. Right when Kalen DeBoer got hired, your first thought has to go to, Well, he's not going to be as good as Nick Saban. Nick Saban's the
Right.
greatest coach ever, right? So it's quite literally impossible for him to be as good as Nick Saban, right? That's just obvious. But then you have the fact that it's like, can he follow the pressure of Nick Saban, right? Can he
Right.
follow the pressure that Nick Saban leaves behind? So that's another question mark, right? But then you go back to this ranking and why this ranking really happened, right? And why this came about and why Kalen DeBoer got the job at Alabama. He took a Washington team to a national championship. That's good. You did it. You took them to a national championship. That was a great season. Like immediately, literally the off season. Okay. And again, this isn't on camera. I have a lot on camera. This isn't on camera. The off season this happened, Blake. I'm trying to point to people, and maybe a cousin of ours who's an Alabama fan. Unfortunately, please pray for him. Okay. I'm trying
Indeed.
to tell him I'm in NFL. I watched NFL too. I watched the NFL draft. I follow it religiously. Kalen DeBoer's Washington team had 3 first-round draft picks and 2 in the top 10. By the way, you're sitting there thinking, well, he probably developed the guys. No, he didn't. Those weren't his players that he recruited. They weren't his players that he developed. Michael Penix was a transfer. He was a top 10 player at the quarterback position, Blake, in the NFL draft. So this is the kind of context I'm trying to point to people. I'm trying to lead people like, can you see how maybe the players elevated him and he didn't elevate the player? Like, are you kind of seeing the pattern here? And then I'm looking at Blake, wait a second. Even Alabama didn't believe in the guy. He was their 4th choice.
Nope.
He was their 4th choice. He was the 4th guy they called, Blake. Everyone else said no. So even the own school didn't believe in the guy that they hired because he's their
Right.
4th choice, people. And like, I'm trying to put these puzzle pieces together for people, Blake. And it's not like a hindsight thing either, Blake. And it's also not like a thing where I'm just making up the hype. A lot of people, what they do on social media, Blake, they get angry at a scenario that never even happened. No one even ever said it, and it never even existed. Blake, I just showed you the article. The
Right.
worldwide leader, Blake, 10 of their top college football, and these guys aren't biased, by the way. These are like AP voters, man. They're like they're supposed to be the unbiased sources in college football, right? They're supposed to be the guys, the experts. They ranked him number 2 overall. And as you know, Blake, and as I've talked to you off camera, the real reason that they ranked him number 2 was because they assumed they wanted to be the smart marks in the room. They assumed the Alabama head coach was going to have success because they believed in the A on the chest so damn bad that they said they're going to put their reputation on the line and now get called out by a guy who, hey, I got a podcast now, okay? So I can call your asses out. Listen, you believed in the A on the chest so bad that you thought Kalen DeBozo was going to have success at Alabama just because it's Alabama. That's not how it works. There's a reason Saban got out of the profession. NIL completely changed the game. None of these kids give a rat's ass about the A on the chest, dude. They just don't. And it's over, dude. It's over. I said it last year when they got annihilated in Norman. I said it when we beat them in Neyland. It's over, dude. Kalen and our chat's already pointing out. The fans are already calling for his head. And that's I said this would happen when he got hired. I said 2 years in, Blake, they would call for his head. 2 years into his tenure at Alabama, Alabama fans will already be calling for the firing of Kalen DeBozo. And that is exactly how this is played out. It's exactly how it's played out. And I try to tell my cousin, and I listen with a small platform, I try to tell the idiot reporters who want to look like the smart guys in the room that, dude, when the greatest coach of all time leaves, no one in the world can replace him. And when the own school who hired the coach had their 4th choice say yes, don't believe in that guy. That's fool's gold, man. It's fool's gold. And I gotta call out a guy who we like, Blake, Josh Pate. Had them winning a national championship this year, man. Come on, man. Come on, dude. Like, their quarterback got benched for Jalen Milroe against South Florida, man. Like, and you know this, Pate. You know, you follow the game. You follow Alabama. Like, you follow college football. He got benched for Jalen Milroe. And y'all thought this guy was all of a sudden going to elevate under Kalen DeBoer? Nick Saban benched him. But you thought he was going to be a better player under Kalen DeBoer. Come on, man. It's disingenuous, dude. You just believed in the A. The A doesn't mean crap. It just doesn't. It doesn't mean anything, dude. It's over. It's dead. It's done, man. It's finally done.
The A is dead. The power T is on the rise, baby. Okay. And man, it freaking pumps me up, dude. I love hearing you because you are absolutely 100% correct. You have been calling this since day one. And I remember on the podcast when we talked about that article with those, again, unbiased ESPN worldwide leader in sports reporters ranking him number 2. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely asinine. And Austin, I've seen a stat floating around that perfectly encapsulates this kind of transition from Saban to DeBoer, which is Saban, if I'm not mistaken, the stat is that Saban lost 4 total games in his career at Alabama to unranked teams. DeBoer has already lost by the first game of his second year, has lost 4 games to unranked teams. Look, what I love about this, Austin, is that, Alabama fans had they're on their high horse, right? About their rivalry with us. Talking about, Auburn is, their number 1 rival. Tennessee's not in the conversation anymore. Dude, we had a decade of dysfunction because of terrible athletic director decisions and terrible administration decisions, even above the athletic director. And it was a absolute crap show. And we went through bad coaches because of bad decision makers and just a bad situation. And we suffered as a fan base because of that. And look, as human beings, I love even Alabama fans, but as Alabama fans, you get what you freaking deserve, baby. And I love to see them now going through what we went through, which is, again, your athletic program had to fall back to its 4th choice. And so obviously it was like, obviously he's not the best of the best because it was the 4th choice to begin with, your 4th choice. And even that, Austin, I don't even know if he should have been their 4th choice because, as you're pointing out, it looked like fool's gold, his resume. And so the bottom line is look, I freaking love it. I hope Alabama fans suffer. I hope Alabama suffers for the next decade, 2 decades. We're going to catch back up to them in the series. We're going to overtake them in the series again. They're going to start crying about, the 3rd Saturday in October, Austin. It means something again.
Yes.
Wake up call, reality call. The 3rd Saturday in October is one of the historic rivalries in college football. Okay. It is one of the oldest rivalries in college football. It is one of the oldest, if not the oldest rivalry in the SEC. It is a historic rivalry. It is an important rivalry, and it is back. And dude, I would love nothing more than to go on a streak against these fools because of freaking Kalen DeBozo and what they got going on right now.
They're very beatable, man. Nobody stood out on this team. It was very uninspiring performance. And shout out to Florida State. I hope Florida State fans are happy, and y'all do deserve it. Y'all went through a tough season last year. You showed up in this game. That environment was incredible in Tallahassee. You showed up despite your team going 2-10 last year. Shout out to Mike Norvell, the Florida State head coach, an actual good head coach. By the way, Blake, one of the guys who said no to Bama. That's pretty funny if you just look at it from like an objective perspective. Like, he said no, then he went 2-10, and now you're like, oh, egg in your face, but then he beats you in the next. It's like one of those things. It's called irony, Alabama fan. You might not realize that, but that's what it's called. It's really funny for someone like me, who, again, tried to warn you. I was really so confused, and we covered this on Vol Talk last year live on the show. I was so confused when we were debating a 9-3 Alabama team who got their asses whipped in Norman, Oklahoma, by 21. and that Oklahoma team went 6-6, and we're debating that 9-3 Alabama team for the playoffs. That's how delusional people are with the A. Because, dude, when Nick Saban was coaching Alabama, dude, didn't you always feel like they had a chance? Like, no matter what the score is, no matter what the time on the clock is, you always felt like those Nick Saban coach teams have a chance. It's done. Like, we have to, Vegas, everyone has to recalibrate, okay? Recalibrate your Alabama lines, recalibrate your expectations, recalibrate what you think of the A on the chest. They weren't one of the best 9-3 teams last year. Okay. People kept giving them credit for the Georgia win last year. They almost blew a 30-point lead. Like, there's signs, people. Wake up and
Yep.
see the signs. Good coaches don't blow 30-point leads. Good coaches don't lose by 21 to 6 teams. By the way, they lost to Vanderbilt last year, Blake. Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Even at Tennessee, in our years of dysfunction, Blake, when a coach lost to Vanderbilt, it was time to fire the coach every single time. When a coach lost to Vanderbilt, that was the final straw. They're gone. They're done. And that's
It's one thing if you start losing to
dysfunction.
Kentucky. Oh God, it's my camera is doing its thing again. But it's one thing if you lose to Kentucky. It's one thing if you lose to South Carolina. But the final straw
Was
is
Vanderbilt.
man. And if you lose to Vanderbilt, man, we're done.
They lost to Vanderbilt. I just like, and we're debating them for the college football play. Do you know how insane that drove me last year, Blake? We're debating them to play for a national championship when they lost to Vandy. Okay, Vanderbilt. That's insane. There's signs on the wall. I hope everyone wakes up and realize, okay, this is the final straw. Kalen DeBoer can't coach. He just can't do it, man. He's not built for this league. And Alabama's not the same. They're just not the same. So quit picking them as your preseason national champions. Quit picking them top 10 in the AP. They shouldn't be ranked. And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be a hater. They are not the same. This is not the same caliber of team, and they will never be. They won't be in our lifetimes, Blake. Okay, they're not. Nick Saban's not coming back. He's not coming
No.
back.
And let us be clear, we are haters. We are haters,
yes.
but this is separate.
Oh,
this,
yes.
this is
Correct.
this is objectively
Correct.
true information, right?
Yeah. Oh, if I didn't
People
make
just
that clear,
can't
I
come-
am a huge hater. Yes.
Correct. Like, we are haters, but
Yes.
this in particular is not hating. This is just facts.
It
Nick
is.
Saban was the greatest coach of all. He was the greatest coach of all time, and literally, someone in order to replicate the chances of having the next greatest coach of all time after having the greatest coach of all time, someone would have to get struck by lightning 5 times in a row, right? To replicate those chances. It is quite literally impossible, right? To catch lightning in a bottle twice in a row. It's not Saban anymore. It's not Saban.
No.
It's a new era.
And Blake, to add to that point, like if Saban didn't leave for the NFL, then LSU would have been the team with the 6th championship. Like people just don't really like.
Right.
The A is meaningless. It's totally meaningless. The young kids, like, and I know all the Bama fans and their single wides, they think that it means something. They swear up and down. They think it means something to these kids. It means absolutely nothing to them. It means nothing to them, Blake. Literally nothing. And the recruiting's still going well. People, that ball is going to drop soon, brother. They're going to start sliding down. It's going to be like, oh, top 5 to top 10, and then it's going to be like top 10 to top. They're scraping in the top 20, and then all of a sudden it's like they're going to be fighting against South Carolina for recruits. That's the trajectory we're going on with Alabama, because no one wants to live in Tuscaloosa, dude. No one lives there by choice. They're born into it, and yeah, that's just the reality. That is the state of this program and where they're headed, and it's just obvious. The writing was on the wall, man. It was as easy to read as a Dr. Seuss book, dude. It's right there in front of you, dude. Just read it, okay? It's Kalen DeBoer. It's their 4th choice. They lost the greatest coach ever, but the worldwide leader ranked them number 2. You got to deal with that.
Welcome
ESPN.
back. Welcome back to reality, ESPN. Welcome back to reality, Alabama fans. The media, Austin, they want to make money. Okay, they want to bring in the hopeful Alabama fans. They want to, even guys like Josh Pate, who we like. He's trying to make money. And when you've got a bunch of especially bandwagon fans like our cousin that you pointed
Yeah,
out,
correct.
but then also just in general, a lot of hopeful Alabama fans, you're going to bring them in, you're going to get their ad revenue, talking about winning a national championship. It's foolish. It is absolutely foolish. And I for one couldn't be happier that we are seeing the fall in real time. It's back to reality, man. At the end of the day, it's back to the reality. I'm going to catch up on the chat here real quick, Austin, because everyone is loving to see Alabama fall. A couple of folks making some funny comments here in the chat. So Vols all day says Bama today already talking about the buyout and it's 70 million. So yeah, he's talking about the fans already calling for him getting bought out. Lynn, I love
Easiest
this
thing to
comment.
read ever, man.
Lynn says maybe it's because Ryan Williams has got too old. He's not even 17 anymore. Actually, I think you are wrong about that. I think the media would have you believe that Ryan Williams is 17 years old and 542 days. Austin, I believe it might be.
I like it.
They love to talk about how he's 17 years old. That's the point Lynn's making there. He is no longer 17 years old. And Austin, look, dude, if you want to perfectly encapsulate the fall of Alabama football in one photo, I don't know if you've seen this, Austin. Ryan Williams brought a doll.
Oh,
He was carrying
I
a
did.
doll into the stadium as they walked into the stadium.
But can I ask you a question? Do you think that would have ever happened under Nick Saban?
Not a
Just be
chance,
honest.
brother. Not a chance. Not a snowball's chance in hell would Nick Saban have ever let one of his players walk into his stadium. He wouldn't have recruited a player who was going to walk into the stadium carrying a doll. So, Alabama, welcome back to reality. In fact, you might be falling straight through earth straight down into hell. I'm just saying. Continuing on the chat here, Ryan says Bama can't stop the run and we can run the ball. I like those odds. I would love to beat them in Bryant-Denny, right? That's the next monkey we got to get off our back is beating them in Bryant-Denny. So Austin, I definitely would love to see that. Ryan being correct about the run game against Alabama. Vols all day says Williams is only 18 years old now. Who cares? Absolutely. Again, he carried a freaking doll into the stadium. It's a joke of a program. Bama wants to cancel the Vandy game for this year now. Yeah, they're probably shaking in their boots. Look, Diego Pavia, he's a loudmouth, right? But he can go ahead and keep beating Bama.
Yeah.
He's going to keep losing to us, but go ahead and keep beating Bama, right, Austin?
Oh yeah, keep beating up on the bad programs. That's what I mean. I give everyone a chance against Bama, dude. I give every single team on their schedule a chance. I mean, genuinely, they have to start thinking like, is the goal 8-4? Like maybe that's best case scenario for Alabama at this point is 8-4. Just to be completely honest, that's where they're at as a program. And it's just, yeah, man, I just don't see that changing. I don't see it changing.
I don't either. And it's good. It's good to see, man, because we love the suffering of Alabama. And look, Austin, I want to go ahead and say this before I forget. Not to add insult to injury to Alabama fans, but not only are you back to reality now after having lost the greatest coach of all time, and now you have Kalen DeBozo. You lost to Florida State, who won 2 games last year. You got walloped by Florida State, who lost 2 games last
it
year.
wasn't close.
Not to add insult to injury, but Forrest Gump is a fictional character. Bear Bryant learned everything he knew about football from General Neyland, and Dixieland Delight is a song about Tennessee. Okay.
Yes, sir.
It's not a good day to be an Alabama fan. I'm going to catch up on the chat here. Vols all day says Bama fans screaming. I don't care nothing about the Tide. Nate says bathroom break. He had to pop in. Go Vols. Welcome, Nate. Thanks for jumping in, man. Cajun saying I am all for Bama playing bad, but they are SC and have to represent. Nico and UCLA, on the other hand, was a dumpster fire. We're going to get into that, Cajun. But, however, I have to disagree with Cajun. I don't give a damn if it's SC football, baby. What they got to make sense of, Austin, is go damn Vols. That's all I know. Okay, that is all I know.
I got you.
I don't care about the SEC. Okay, I hope Alabama loses every single game this year. 8-4, Austin. I think that's realistic. I'd love to see them go 6-6. I'd love to see them not even make a bowl game. Okay, screw. I don't care about the SC. Screw Alabama. I hope their stadium implodes. And then
Okay.
Cajun says, so, so glad we have Joey. Yes, Cajun, please. Thanks for
I
joining, man.
agree.
Go rewind to the beginning
I
of the
agree.
show. And
So
actually, we're
happy.
going to talk a little bit. Yeah,
Oh,
we're
we
going to
will.
talk a little
Well,
bit more about Joey now, Austin. So,
correct.
are you ready to officially
One more
transition to the
thing.
next hate update? Please hit us with the
One
next thing.
one more thing, Blake. I don't know if you know this. I'm actually a wanted man in the state of Alabama right now. Okay, we went on
Okay.
beach. We
All right.
went on beach vacation this summer. Me and my wife, and I got pulled over. Man, I got pulled over by an Alabama cop, and all I gotta say is all Alabama, literally, the only good thing about that state is I have to drive through it to get to a better state, right? Like that's literally all I'm doing. I'm trying to go as
Yeah.
fast as possible to get through Alabama so I can get to the beach in Florida. That's literally all Alabama is there for. So I am a wanted man in Alabama right now for a speeding ticket. And yeah, I got to get that figured out, man. And we'll see. We'll see what happens.
That is
Almost asked them
unfortunate,
if they've
brother.
seen Vol talk and they saw the Bama review, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to rub salt in the wound, you know.
You definitely wouldn't want to rub salt in the wound because those guys, man. He probably would have hit you with 3 more tickets. But brother, that is not a good state to get a ticket in
It is not
because, like you said, you want to get through there as fast as possible.
exactly. And I try to
Uh,
tell the cop that, Blake, but he just listen. He's from there.
he wasn't. He didn't get it
He didn't get it because he's upset because he has to live there. He doesn't have a choice.
right.
He was born into it. So I kind of got it from that perspective. He didn't understand. I was trying to drive through your state so I could get to a better one.
If I could have avoided your stay, I would
I
have, sir. So
exactly
please,
and he didn't buy that.
let me get out of here as soon as possible. Matt in the chat, I'm with you, bro. Down with the tide. Absolutely. Cajun Vol says LOL. So, yeah, everyone agrees. You love to see the Alabama Crimson Tide falling big time to FSU, the Seminoles. But Austin, again, we did some more hate watching yesterday. You in
We
particular
sure
did some more
did.
hate watching.
We sure
And
did.
I'm telling you, it couldn't have gone any better for Tennessee because, yes, talking about Joey Aguilar, we are happy we got Joey. He was making big plays. He was making big throws. And Austin, it was more of the freaking same from Nico Iamaleava. Hit us
Yeah.
with the review of the UCLA game.
Yeah. So listen, man, it was one of those things. It was like, I the Bama thing was unexpected, right? It was an unexpected result. I didn't expect Florida State to win that game. I really didn't. So I was really happy with that. Everything I saw from UCLA, it was expected. The first thing I saw was they were trying everything that they were doing everything in their power, Blake, to not show the stadium because everyone involved would have been embarrassed by the amount of fans in the stadium. They would have been.
Yeah.
No one showed up, and everyone that did show up was Utah fans. There was literally 0 UCLA fans in the stadium. That is not an exaggeration whatsoever. Okay, 0 UCLA fans showed up to the game. So no one's even excited about this potential 5-star quarterback with all this potential, right? Right off the gate, man, it's just like it's basically if you photoshopped a UCLA jersey on Nico last year. That's what I saw. He's the exact same player. The very first deep ball of the game, he has him wide open. His offensive coordinator's probably feeling really good. It's like, I got a 5-star, man. I finally got some talent that can get this kid the ball. He's wide open by 15 yards, and Nico overthrows him by 5 yards. That's classic, man. Classic Nico. Nothing changes, dude. It was overthrows all night long. UCLA's terrible, man. UCLA's terrible. And listen, it does go back to Big Nick, right? It does. We have to talk about his dad because here's the story, Blake. Here's the story. And this is how it's going to be told, and it's literally going to save some kids' careers. So what happened is that his kid, right? He was given God-given abilities, right? God-given abilities to throw the football and be really athletic, right? Those are God-given abilities. You didn't train for that. You were given that by the grace of God. And what did you do with that? Okay. Well, as a selfish parent, you said, well, I want to squeeze every last ounce out of this kid as I possibly can. Okay, I want
Yep.
to benefit from this as much as I possibly can. So you make a good decision at first to go to Tennessee because we offered you a lot of money, right? So it wasn't really the fact that you wanted to go get developed and you actually want to play in the SEC. It was the fact that we offered you the most money and you accepted that because, again, you're a selfish parent who's taking advantage of your child. Okay, and then what happens, Blake? Okay, apparently Nico's going to the Rose Bowl, the UCLA game, while
Oh
on
my gosh.
right before the Ohio State game, by the way. Not a great
I
look.
thought it was right before we lost to Arkansas. I thought it
Oh
was
yeah,
in the
excuse me.
bye
Yes,
week,
it was. You're right. It was right before we lost to Arkansas when he ran out of bounds. You're
and then
absolutely
he
correct.
runs out of bounds on 4th down at the end of the
Correct.
game.
So your dad, listen, your dad is obviously huge influence on Nico Wright, and in the off season, he demands more money. That's the story. That's what was happening. He was demanding more money. 4 million was the number. Big Nick told us, right? There's literally messages with him from another big source saying we have multiple offers of teams offering four
Yep.
million dollars. Okay, that was the story.
Lie.
What complete lie. Nico doesn't show up to practice. Heupel kicks him off the team. That's what happened. We're not going to retell the story. It had nothing to do with the offense. It had nothing to do with the talent. He wanted more money. Heupel told him to kick rocks, and that's what happened. So he ran back home to UCLA, right? He ran back home to UCLA to play in front of no fans with a worse supporting cast and a worse offense and a worse defense. And what's the result? 46-10 ass whipping at home in front of nobody at 11 p.m., dude. You are playing in the SEC in front of hundreds, 100,000 fans and even millions more on TV. You went to the Big Ten to play in front of 0 fans and nobody watching on TV except for Tennessee hate watchers, including myself.
Literally take Tennessee. Yep.
I was literally the only people watching last night. And you did all that for less money, not 4 million. The 4 million was completely fabricated. No one offered him 4 million whatsoever because no one wanted him. Okay. You went there for less money, for more taxes, for a worse offense, a worse defense, and no fans. You gave up 100,000 in the SEC on the biggest stage with a team that just carried you to the playoffs. Dude, my opinion on Nico is it's getting worse and worse as time goes on. He was literally dragged to the playoffs last year, Blake. Absolutely dragged to the playoffs last year. And you gave all that up to go play in front of people dressed as empty seats, man. That's what you did at 11 p.m. Come on, man.
It's one of truly it's going to go down as one of the biggest fumbles of all time. One of the absolute biggest fumbles of all time of a college football player. I don't think it's too early to say that because you're absolutely right. He looked exactly the same, bro. He was not going through progressions. He was not decisive. He was overthrowing receivers. He was not accurate. He looked exactly the same. He is Austin. Nico is who we thought he was. Okay. And so, you know, we're in a better position now. It was actually a blessing in disguise. It truly was. Right. And so, you know, it's honestly, it's couldn't have gone better for us in terms of, I mean, because we freed up a little bit of money in terms of NIL and we got a better quarterback and, you know, all these different things. It's hard to fathom. And I am going to shout out in the chat here. Todd said, first of all, Todd Fox, welcome, Todd Fox. I think this is the first time I've seen you in chat. Welcome to the Vol Talk podcast here. Folks, again, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It would really help us out. But Todd, first and foremost, I want to say he commented that he has to live in Bama, not by choice. And he says, let me tell you, I can't wait to retire and get back to East Tennessee. Brother, we'll be praying for you. We can't wait for you to get back to God's country as well. I'm sorry you have to live in Alabama.
And Todd and Lynn, Blake, by all accounts, are the only good things that come out of Alabama. Y'all will have to let me know.
Right.
Y'all are doing the Lord's work. You're literally the only reason that I'm not sitting here thinking Alabama is the worst state in the union, okay? That might go to like Utah or California or whatever. But listen, Bama, y'all are literally the only good things that come out of that state.
Correct. But Todd says here, he makes a great, comment, Austin. He says that's Samoan culture, that you have to do what your elders tell you. And Austin, we have said before about Nico, we have shown Nico a little bit of grace. Nico, the individual, because we're like, hey, unfortunately, his dad is leading him down the wrong path. It is so utterly clear by all accounts, all of the information that we have available to us. And now the objective reality that even if it was Nico's decision, even if his dad had nothing to do with it, in terms of Nico leaving Tennessee and now going to UCLA, it's obviously a worse situation, as you just pointed out. All those things you pointed out. So why, as a father, would you not, if it was Nico's decision, tell your son, hey, you're making
Selfishness.
the wrong decision? It's selfishness. And the reality is that unfortunately the dad is leading him down the wrong path. So Todd, you're absolutely right. Samoan culture, you have to do what the elders tell you. And I respect that, right? I respect, because Austin, you want to be able to trust your dad. We've talked about this. You want to be able to trust your parents. But unfortunately, Big Nick has screwed his son over. And now he's making a fool of
Like,
himself at UCLA. It's just a joke.
And dude, he ruined his career. He ruined Nico's career, man. Like completely butchered it. Like that can't. And yeah, he ruined it, man. I know we got to continue to catch up on chat, but I mean, talk about a blessing in the skies. The great Joey Aguilar, not wanted by UCLA. Well, we'll take him. We'll take him. Hey, you have our guy. We got your guy. I'll take that trade all day, every day, and twice on Sunday, baby.
Twice on Sunday, indeed, because we early signs again indicating we're taking the early victory laps, indicating that we are making out like a bandit in this trade. You're absolutely right. Chat is going off here, folks. Thank you for joining the chat. Again, if you're new to Vol Talk, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Find us on Spotify as well. Spotify is a great place to listen to us. Shout out to Blake G. Fellers, who was in the chat earlier. Listeners on Spotify. And please, as always, jump in the chat because we love chatting with you guys. This is why we do this. So I'm going to catch up on the chat here, Austin. Let's see here. Rick, saying that it's all on Big Nick. And that Nico is still overthrowing wide open receivers. So absolutely, everything we've been talking about. And Rick says, what happens when your elder is an idiot? Yeah, again, it sucks for Nico, right? Because this is the situation he's in, where his dad's leading him down the wrong path. Cajun says he puts it all on Nico. He's supposed to lead a major SEC team, take off the Pampers, and stop, the noise of family and agents. Look, and Cajun, to your point, again, I give grace, a little bit of grace to Nico, right, Austin? We've talked about giving grace to Nico because of wanting to trust your dad. But Cajun makes a great point, right? You are an adult now. You are a legal adult, and you are being paid big boy money. Austin. He's in 1 year he was paid more than you and I have yet to see in our lifetime. Right?
Correct.
Because and let's be clear about this. Simply because, exactly like you said earlier, simply because you were born with God-given genes that make you an athletic person, right? And fit to play quarterback, right? So for no other reason other than the fact that, because we've talked about those ratings in high school, right? It's almost purely based on the tangibles and those measurables. So you were paid that much money and you're playing in the SEC, you're a quarterback, you're supposed to be a leader, all these things that we've talked about on this channel before, Austin. So Cajun does make a great point that it's like at a certain point, you do have to step up and be a man and start making decisions for yourself, right, Austin? I mean, that's what it comes down to in terms of Nico's portion of the blame. And let's see here, catching up on chat. Matt says, can't believe Heupel let Aguilar come out guns blazing. Freaking love to see it. Yeah, Austin. I mean, I love that as well. Seeing Aguilar just absolutely sling it. And Nico still kicking rocks, says Matt. Backflip Spaghetti in the chat. Welcome, Backflip Spaghetti. It's the first time I've seen you in the chat. Welcome to the Vol Talk podcast. Let's see here. He says, I'm on a mission to support every pro Vol channel. Let the haters keep hating as we keep getting better. Backflip Spaghetti, welcome. Thank you for the support to the Vol Talk channel here. We really appreciate it. We've been growing like crazy, so we appreciate the support. People are trying to blame it on the defense. Nico is average at best, and I'm personally glad he's back on the West Coast. Austin, that's the common string, right? Is like we learned last year that Nico's actually mid. He's
Yes, as
actually
simple
for
as that, dude. He's not that good. In fact, breaking news: he still sucks. He still sucks,
yeah,
Blake.
yeah. Shout out to the overlay there. Breaking news: Nico still sucks. At the end of the
Nothing
day,
changed.
Rick. Nothing has changed. Rick says, I don't think the UCLA coach is too bright. I think he's in over his head. Austin, you pointed out that you thought Deshaun Foster was probably pretty ticked at Nico last night.
Yeah, he
He's
didn't look
like,
happy with Nico last night. Got a shout out to
yeah,
everyone watching. We got like 47 viewers in here. Really appreciate y'all watching. We are so close to 400 subscribers, by the way, Blake. So if you're not
yes,
subscribed, please
yes.
subscribe. Get us to 400. We really appreciate y'all support. But yeah, dude, Deshaun Foster was disgusted the whole game. You could kind of see it's like, man, he probably and I asked my buddy Dakota, a friend of the show, this during the game. How many times do you think Nico checked that Joey Aguilar box score? Right, he was refreshing. He was hoping for Aguilar to throw a pick. Oh man, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Really good game from Aguilar. Nico comes out, puts up 10 points in his home opener. Home opener. I mean, we'll call it. It was technically UCLA's home stadium. There was no UCLA fans. So that's really the only thing that changed. It says breaking news, Nico still sucks. Some things have changed. Minus 100,000 fans on Saturdays. Way
Right.
worse defense, way worse offense. You get absolutely annihilated by unranked Utah. So some things have changed, but Nico has stayed the same.
And let's also point out too, Austin. Yeah, Nico did have 1 touchdown. The game was utterly out of reach by that point.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was,
The game was
I mean,
over at the end of the first quarter.
yeah, exactly. So let's be honest, right? It wasn't. You might as well say that Nico had an interception that game and what, like 130 yards or something. I mean,
Oh,
it was absolute.
He threw an interception on a screen pass.
Exactly, and it's like let's just take the touchdown off the scoreboard, okay? Because it was garbage time, and Nico was exactly who we thought he was, which was
Correct.
overthrowing receivers. So everyone in the chat is agreeing here. I'm going to continue to catch up on the chat real quick. Rick, no, let me get here to Backflip Spaghetti, saying that I've already given my Georgia score prediction on Uncle Lou's live last night. UT 28, Georgia 17. Love to see it. Backflip Spaghetti. I hope you're right. Austin will be previewing the Georgia game here in a couple weeks. So,
Absolutely.
John Harden, welcome to the Vol Talk podcast. He says Nico plays scared, and Austin, I think that's the bottom line,
So
right?
true.
Is that Nico
So
is
true,
just
man.
not confident, right? He's not confident. He doesn't make quick decisions.
It was the same thing last night, man. It was the exact same thing last night. That was the really
Yep.
biggest difference with Joey, man. And it was our preseason analysis, and through one game, Blake, we couldn't be any more right. Nico looks at his first read, then he bails and he plays scared. He plays indecisive. Joey Aguilar sits in the pocket, goes through his progressions, waits for a guy to get open. The very last resort is him scrambling and getting out of the pocket. That's the very last resort. But he uses all that time in the pocket that he has going through his reads, unlike Nico.
Exactly. So we definitely got the better end of the trade. So I just think it's absolutely clear at
It's
this
so
point,
clear,
right?
man.
We're seeing it
So
on
clear.
we're seeing it on the field
Hey,
immediately.
we didn't.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
One thing
No,
about
no.
Aguilar too that we actually forgot to point out in his performance: no turnover worthy plays, Blake. None. And that was his question mark. And what did we say?
Right.
Can Heupel scheme coach it out of Aguilar? Right? Can he coach out the turnovers? Through one game, the answer is yes.
Looking like yes. He did have that one underthrown deep ball, but that ended up in the defensive PI. And I guess Austin. So what you're telling me is that wasn't counted as a turnover
It was
worthy play because
not.
there was not a defender in the area, right? So I think honestly that was some pretty sweet analysis that you brought a couple weeks ago on the season preview. You're talking about the how overpowered the underthrown deep ball is and drawing the defensive PI, because literally, and as soon as I saw that play too, I was like, dude, that is exact. Austin hit that nail and exactly on the head.
First deep ball of the season.
Exactly. You absolutely love to see it. We got some more new folks in the chat here, Austin. I love it. Folks, keep the chats coming. We love this conversation with you guys. Eventually, folks, we are, Nico's going to be a distant memory, right? So eventually we're going to have fun just talking about Alabama losing and Tennessee being back on top, baby. But for now, we're enjoying this situation. So we're going to continue with this conversation. Backflip Spaghetti saying, I saw someone give him a B minus, but he has promise. I pointed out how we were saying the same thing last year. Yeah, I think bottom line is that, right, Austin? We kept having hope that he was going to live up to his potential, and he never did.
He just didn't. And Blake, why would he? And just to point on that, because that's such a good chat. Why would he get better at UCLA? That doesn't make any sense. They should have thought. So you're going to tell me he's going to come in 2 months, learn a completely new system with the entire roster being worse in front of zero fans, and he's going to improve? That doesn't add up. But Big Nick's not thinking about that, right? He's not thinking of it. He's not a very smart guy. So it's like he makes those kind of bad, like he's not thinking, wow, why would he get better in a worse scheme with worse players? It makes no sense.
Makes zero sense. That's why the narrative, it's so funny because they keep changing the narrative, right? Oh, it's about, first of all, it was about the money. And then it was like, oh, it's not about the money. It's about, being closer to family, or it's about, the offensive scheme. We don't like Heupel's system and da-da-da. And it's like,
all a bunch of hogwash, man. That was completely made up,
it's
fabricated
hogwash
crap.
It's BS because like you're saying, it's obviously a worse situation.
Yeah, and just real quick, dude, I have to call out Joel Klatt, who it's a
Yes,
absolute
please.
miracle that he continues to be asked to come back on television, Blake. It's absolutely astonishing to me that they put that idiot in front of the camera, dude. He is one of the morons who took the Nico absolute bait, hook, line, and sinker. And listen, people, if you don't know the college football landscape, you have to listen to guys like Pate that do a really good job of breaking this down, because there's a reason a Big Ten shill like Joel Klatt would buy in to the Nico BS and say, "Oh, well, Tennessee completely misconstrued the narrative. It was about the players around Nico, blah blah blah." And they basically lied about the Nico situation. That's what Joel Klatt said about Tennessee in the Nico situation, Blake. You have to know what's going on around college football. He works for Fox, Blake. What does that mean? It means, of course, he's gonna push the Big Ten narrative, because that's what Fox has. They have the Big Ten media rights,
Right.
so of course he's going to buy into the SEC quarterback who's left for the Big Ten and say, "Oh, well, it was Tennessee who lied about the Nico situation and completely misconstrued it." No, people, we know what the conversation was. We're not going to have some idiot with a platform that is, again, absolutely astonishing that he got, Blake, to tell us and lie to us and say, "Oh, guess what? It wasn't about the money." It was about the money. Big Nick said it was about the money 2 weeks before we told Nico to kick rocks.
Yeah, it's. I'm glad you're calling out that fool, dude. What an absolute idiot Joe Klatt is. And yeah, it's just the narrative has just been. People keep trying to say, "Oh, Tennessee propaganda, all this." Dude, shut up.
It was total lie.
Just quit.
It's total lie.
You're
know
looking
it was
like
a lie, Blake, because he said it before
looking
he
like a fool.
left. He said what the issue was. He said, "Give us more money." We said, "Your son's not that good. We're not going to give him a raise." And then they left to play in front of zero fans.
And you get, just like Alabama fans, you get what you freaking deserve, baby. So again, folks, I'm trying to keep up with the chat, man. It's going crazy. I really appreciate everyone here. Tons of new faces. Backflip Spaghetti talking about Joey Swagular. I love that.
Love it.
Nickname for Aguilar. Cavalry Fusillade. Cavalry Fusillade says, actually, the TD was early in the game, not garbage time. He does have nice plays here and there, and that was one, but otherwise he was trash. Yeah, look, he does have an occasional nice play, right? But I guess my point is like the game was decided, man. Like, the fact is that there was never going to be a situation where Nico was going to win that game for UCLA. You can talk about UCLA's offense, their defense and this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, dude, is like you're saying, Cavalry Fusillade saying, hey, yeah, otherwise he was trash. because he's overthrowing receivers left and right, right? So
Yeah.
I guess my point there is that, just because he had one TD, like Cavalry saying, he occasionally has a nice play here and there, but it's like freaking putting makeup on a pig, man. You can put a makeup on a pig all day long. It's still a freaking pig.
And
Okay.
Blake, if he has one good play in front of an empty stadium, did it really even happen?
That's right. That's right. I love seeing that going around on social media. If Nico overthrows a receiver and no one's there to see it, did it really happen? The age-old philosophical question. I love it. Todd Fox saying were we the best SC offense against a Power Four opponent this weekend? We
You
might
could
have
make that
been, Todd.
argument.
We might
You
have
could make
been.
that argument.
You can make that. You can make that argument. Backflip spaghetti, talking about calm, poison, humility, talking about Joey. Tennessee Rocky Top. Welcome, Tennessee Rocky Top. I believe this is the first time I've seen you in the chat, so welcome. Good to see you. And he's saying at least Nico has his dad and friends around to support him in these trying times. Hey man, that's right. He's back close to family, so they can support him in this trying time. Let's see here. Ben Sherman. I think I may have seen you before, but if not, welcome to the Vol Talk podcast. Hate to say it, Nico played Tennessee. He waited until last possible moment before going into the portal. Yeah, I mean, Austin, I don't know if he intentionally did that or what. But at the end of the day, he obviously ended up with the worst side of the bargain, right? So let's see here. Cajun Vol talking about Coach Heupel's staff developing QBs, whereas UCLA hires QBs to be saviors. Do you think that's fair, Austin? I mean, it seems like immediately, again, one game, but like you're talking about with Aguilar, it seems like Heupel's system, he didn't have any turnover worthy plays. So you love to see that.
And he did look like he got better, man. And I also think there's
let's see. Oh, got another new person in the chat. We got Scorched. I will say, as much as I don't like Alabama, their QB being from Martin here in West Tennessee, I do not want them to have a decent season, I do want them to have a decent season, at least for him. Look, dude, if someone is from Tennessee and they go to Alabama, they are officially a traitor. Okay. Well, go if they go to play for Alabama, I should say. So Scorched, I guess you're from Martin. Hey, shout out to West Tennessee. We at Austin, we do have a few listeners out from Middle Tennessee and West Tennessee. So shout out to those guys over there, including Scorched. We really appreciate you. And again, this is the first time I've seen you, Scorched. So welcome to the Vol Talk podcast. We love our West Tennessee and Middle Tennessee folks. But look, Alabama, I don't care who's playing for them. Okay, freaking, I hope they miss the bowl or miss a bowl game this season. I hope they have the worst possible season. We will see. Backflip spaghetti calling Kit Kat platter. Kit Kat clat. And then Rick saying, do you guys think Nico would still be playing at this level if he stayed, or do you think he would have seen improvement with an extra year in the system? So Austin, that's an interesting question, because I posed that in the season preview to Dakota. If hey, would Nico, people bring this up, Nico was going to progress, and is that going to be better than Aguilar's play? And Austin, to me, his performance in this first UCLA game shows that he's the same as he was.
Yeah, that was a really good question. I was actually eyeing that question up in the chat. It's tough to know, man. It's really tough to know if he would have stayed in the system and improved under Heupel. I will say there's certain things about Nico's game that really are very tough to fix in quarterback play, and one of which is the processing and the decision making. It's very hard to help a quarterback in that way. And now he's a young guy, maybe he can get better at that, but it just hasn't changed from his first season as a starter to his second season as a starter. As Blake said, the performance was the exact same issues that he had last year at Tennessee, with worse players in front of no fans, I must point out once again.
Exactly. So yeah, it's just, I completely agree with you there. And then also, I agree with this. I guess still talking about Joel Klatt from a few minutes ago when you were talking about him. CM Says Stuff. Welcome, CM Says Stuff. This is the first time I've seen you in the chat, so welcome to the Vault Talk podcast. He says it all started the day we blackballed the Shiano deal, and he went on national TV and said that fan base doesn't even deserve a coach.
Oh yeah.
Austin,
Oh yeah.
I love the
I saw that clip.
national media melting down when the fan base actually show that they have power, right? And the media, because the media wanted to talk about how good of a hire Shiano was going to be, right? And Klatt included, obviously. And now he looks like an absolute moron, right? Because it was obviously not going to be, it was going to be yet another Butch Jones-esque hire, Greg Schiano. And, yeah, that fan base doesn't even deserve a coach. What a fool, dude.
Yeah, can you believe they pay him to say stuff like that? That's amazing to me. Like, he gets paid to give these opinions. It's absolutely incredible. And you have to speculate there's a nepotism involved. Like, I don't know, but to me that would be my speculation. Like, his dad works at the network and that's how he got the job. That would be my guess. Blake, you still with us?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh, yep. Yeah, my connection might be starting to slow down, so that might be a sign, Austin, that we need to wrap this bad boy up. Although I hate to, because we had a good deal of viewers here. So, but I'm gonna try to quickly just shout out a couple more people in the chat here. Tennessee Rocky Top saying making less money on a worse team in a worse conference. Nico's dad, his big brain. Yeah, exactly. What an all-time fumble. John Harden says, I think Danny Walker was a better QB than TY. Danny went 48-0 at Westview, which used to be Martin Panthers. I played there 1 year, so I guess he's talking about out there in West Tennessee, John. And then let's see here. Backflip Spaghetti says, can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. That is absolutely right. You can't make silk out of a pig's ear. That is 100% correct. And then Matt saying impressed with Lewis. Austin, he's shouting out Payne Lewis again.
Yep.
Yeah. Austin, we're talking a lot about Nico here. Look, it's been fun because it's vindicating, right?
Yes.
But let's put a bow on this. What are your final thoughts on Aguilar and his performance compared to Nico's, and then just all around our offense's performance?
Listen, I like to be level-headed, man. I'm a level-headed fan. We're having a lot of fun on the show. I try to be level-headed in my analysis. Through one game, this looks like the most lopsided trade in sports history. I mean, it's one of the most lopsided trades ever. Like, that's how it looks through one game. We have to see how the rest of the season plays out. I'm not predicting us to go 12-0. We still have a lot of things to clean up as a team. But Nico still sucks, man. It's true. Nico's not a good quarterback. He's just not. And Joey Aguilar is a better quarterback. And I keep seeing this narrative. I have to touch on this while we're kind of comparing the two. I keep seeing the narrative that it's like, I just think Aguilar fits the system better. That might be true, but the reality is it's not. I don't think that's it. I think people are missing. He's a better quarterback. He's better at football. It's not hard. It's not hard. It's not tough to figure out. It's a very QB friendly system, Blake. So if one guy is, quote, better in the system, that's just a different way to say he's a better he's better at the game. He's better at football. He's a better quarterback.
Yep.
Okay. Joey Aguilar is better than Nico. He is. He was last year. He is this year. And he has a better team, and he's actually playing in front of 100,000. He has an entire fan base around him who absolutely loves him. And Joey's our guy, man. Joey is our absolute guy. Nico could have had it all here, man. But Big Nick ruined it for him.
He ruined it for him. But again, blessing in disguise for us, baby.
No doubt.
Look, we're in a better position. So I'm happy with it. Who would have thought, fast or rewind to what was it, 4 months ago when all this stuff first happened. And then fast forward to now, and here we are, and we're like, man, it seems like we're in a better position. We have a more decisive quarterback. Everyone's shouting out our running backs in the chat as well. Hate to lose Dylan Sampson, but we've got a great stable of running backs. It looks like we've got a couple more stars back there as well. So overall, Austin, I'm super optimistic about this offense. So Backflip Spaghetti still here in the chat. I really appreciate you, Backflip Spaghetti, jumping in the chat for the first time. Scorched, Tennessee Rocky Top, Matt, Rick, as always, John Harden, all these folks in the chat.
Lynn, don't
Y'all
forget
have
Lynn.
been
Lynn
awesome.
stopped by as well.
Got to shout out Lynn.
Everybody.
Love seeing Lynn in the
Ryan.
chat. Ben Sherman, Cavalry Fusillade, Ryan, longtime supporter. Look, folks, this has been really fun stream, and I really appreciate everyone kind of continue this conversation in the chat. It's been fantastic, Austin. This is why we do this. We love just talking Vol football, baby. We love talking all things volunteer sports with you guys. So you love to see it, Austin. Any final thoughts as we kind of wrap up here, man?
No, man, I'm ready for that Georgia game. We will know a lot more about this team come Georgia week, and we'll get into the analysis of that. We have to get past this ETSU game. We're all looking ahead, right? The team can't look ahead, but we're looking ahead. We're looking ahead for week 3, man. It's going to be a fun matchup.
Oh yeah, exactly. We, like you said, the team can't look past it, and we are going to preview and review the ETSU game here on the Vol Talk podcast. But we are ready for the Georgia game, no doubt. Folks, let me quickly catch you up here on a few housekeeping items. So first and foremost, please, again, we've really enjoyed the stream. It's been a fun stream. Go ahead and like the video, please. If you haven't already, join the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Go follow us on Spotify as well. Again, shout out to I forgot another chatter, Blake G. Fellers earlier. Really appreciate him jumping in. He was coming over from Spotify. In the chat. Daniel Hightower, go Big Orange, baby.
My
Absolutely.
guy.
We've really appreciated the conversation. And so please, if you're listening after the fact, go ahead and drop us a comment as well. We will be what our season is going to look like is we're going to be going live on Sundays at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. And then we will be going live again on Tuesday nights around 8 p.m. Eastern. Okay. That is going to be our preview of the upcoming game on that coming Sunday, or I'm sorry, Saturday. And then Austin, I guess we're going to aim for what, probably about Thursday or Friday to drop clips from our live shows each week. So we're going to be dropping some clips for you guys as well, some shorter kind of segments of 10 to 15 minutes or so. So be looking for those as well. Go ahead and drop comments and likes on those videos, please, because it really helps the channel. And Austin, we are, I was kind of trying to filibuster. We are getting close to 400 subscribers. So one final call, folks, help get us to 400 subscribers.
We're 5 away.
It's
so
been
if you
really
want to
awesome.
be number 400,
really
you have that opportunity.
Exactly. So again, we will see you on Tuesday night for the preview of the ETSU game. And then, of course, we will catch you on the other side of the ETSU game to review that once the time comes next Sunday. So tune in then. Until then, as always, folks, go